Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's your favorite history teacher back at you again with another historical video. And today we got a doozy for you because like I told you, I combined these four chapters together into a cohesive unit. Well, we're going to take a little step back because we ended in 1848, yet we're going to be talking about stuff in the late 1700s, early 1800s. So we're going to and hit reverse. I was going to say reverse, and talk to you today about some Latin American revolutions. And yeah, let's get into the mix. All right. So today's lecture, aptly called Revolts in Latin America. Chapter 4, Section 3. This is the end section for this unit. And our test is this week. So hopefully y'all can get down to business. And with it being a test week, it also means, with it also being the end of the unit, we'll also be having a notebook check later. So, yay. But more information on that to come. Anywho, yeah, so let's get into it. That was your warm-up. So objectives, you'll be able to understand how the Enlightenment ideals, American French Revolution's outcomes spreaded across the world. And we're explaining the reasons why so many Latin American countries received their independencia from La Spain. All right, so take a step back. Where we at, Doe? Where we at? We're in the entire Western hemisphere of the Americas, North America, South America, Central America, the Caribbean, whichever way you want to put it. And if you notice, all this yeller is controlled by Spain. This pink is the British. There's not that much pink. The Dutch have the Guyanas. The French have French Guyana, as you learned from our map quiz. The Portuguese obviously have Brazil. So, not that much after the United States becomes, or is this? This is mainly the United States independence, so they should have changed this color. Anyways, let's get into the mix. Test question right off the bat. I started off hot. So the Latin American social structure. So revolutionary feelings from Western Europe are going to spread to Latin America when discontent was rooted in the social, racial, and political system from 300 years of Spanish rule. So at the top, think of it as a pyramid. At the top of this pyramid scheme, you have the peninsulares, which are Spanish-born, and they held top jobs in the government and the church. Okay, and then you have the Creoles, which are European-descended Latin Americans. They owned haciendas, ranches, and mines. Then you have mestizos, who are of Native American or Native and European descent. And you have mulattoes, who are of African and European descent. So both mulattoes and mestizos were mad that they were denied the status, wealth, and power that had been made available to the whites, being the Spanish. Natives and Africans also suffered under Spanish rule. Much still the same. So here you have the pyramid scheme. Oh my gosh. Go back. So mostly pure blood or just Spanish. Here you have Creoles, which are European descent, born in I believe they're also born in the what do you call it? I think they're born in the Americas from Spanish parents. Extra credit question. There we go. Who are the Creoles? Are we just talking about like some Swedes and some Germans, and they're automatically below the Spanish? Or who are the Creoles? European descent. Is that just the children of the Spanish parents who were born in, say, Mexico or born in Colombia, and they're automatically Creoles? Because mestizos are when a European father, Spanish father, and a native woman have a child, that's a mestizo. And a mulatto is a European father and a slave woman. You have a mulatto. And below them are Africans and natives. So, yeah, I just had to get that in there. All right, Latin America. It's lit. So Creoles had read translations of the Declaration of Independence and Constitution. You have Simón Bolivar. Get used to that name. We're going to talk about him a lot today. He traveled to Europe at the time of the French Revolution, was inspired by the, quote, liberté, equalité, fraternité. And the spark that spread full rebellion was when Napoleon invaded Spain. He ousted the Spanish king and placed his brother Joseph on the throne. Leaders in Latin America saw this as Spain's weakness, as an opportunity to reject foreign domination and demand independence from colonial rule. So that's babyface Bolivar, circa 1800. What's Spanish for Joseph? Jose. Slaves revolt. But even before this, even before Spanish colonists were freed, a revolution had erupted on the French colony of Hispaniola, or modern-day Haiti. French planters owned a very profitable sugar plantations worked by nearly 500,000 enslaved Africans. Yes, there are more slaves on this island than there are French. Plantations, as hopefully you guys have learned, plantations are labor intensive, and slaves were overworked and underfed. And if you know anything about the Caribbean, it's hot and it's humid. The island slaves are going to rise up and revolt in 1791, led by our guy Toussaint L'Ouverture, whichever way you want to pronounce it. He was a self-educated former slave who turned into be a brilliant general and an inspiring commander. Britain, France, and Spain are going to send forces against him. Fighting is going to take more lives than any revolution did in the Americas. Think about that. And by 1798, rebels had achieved their goal and slavery was abolished. Now, if you know anything about 1798, who gets in power right about that time? Man, myth, former slave, Toussaint. All right, Haiti gets their freedom. In 1802, Napoleon sent a large army to reconquer the former colony. Remember, colonies are very vital to mother countries, as we will learn in imperialism coming soon. Toussaint urged that countrymen should fight to resist the invaders. In April 1802, they agreed to a truce. However, they captured Toussaint and carried him back to France in chains, where he died in a mountain prison 1 year later. However, the Haitians got a wave of good fortune when yellow fever started to take its toll on the army, and the French surrendered. January 1804, the island declared itself independent under the name Haiti. And remember, in 1804, who becomes emperor? Also, in 1803, remember Louisiana purchased by America by I don't know why I'm whispering. Rival Haitians are going to fight a bit following independence. It's going to become a republic in 1820. All right, we're going to skirt to Mexico. The slave revolt in Haiti frightened many Creoles, and even though they desired power, they had no desire for economic or social changes that could ruin their ways of living. Kind of like the upper and lower bourgeoisie in the French Revolution, right? If you read, you know what I mean. Then in 1810, a Creole priest from Mexico, Father Miguel Hidalgo, is going to raise his voice. And he was a father that presided over a rural parish, a poor rural parish of Dolores. In September 15th, hey, that just passed, 1810, he's going to ring church bells to summon his people for prayer. And in the translated version, he said, "My children, will you be free?" And he's going to go on to say a lot more other stuff. But this is also known as el grito de Dolores, which is, I believe, grito means cry, shout, yell. So the yell for Dolores. And this is basically to call Mexicans to fight for independence. So you have a ragtag army of mestizos and natives are going to join Father Hidalgo on the outskirts of Mexico City. Bye-bye. Some Creoles had supported Father Hidalgo, but they soon rejected his calls for reforms such as an end to slavery. Can't have that. And improved conditions for natives. Definitely can't have that. They felt that they would lose power with these changes. Oh my gosh, who are they sounding like? Oh. After a few early successes in the revolt, Father Hidalgo soon faced a growing opposition. Less than a year after his grito, he would be captured and executed, and his followers disappeared. That's our father, Miguel Hidalgo. As one falls down, another stands up. After Father Hidalgo's death, another priest picked up the banner of revolution. His name is Father Jose Morelos, and he was a mestizo priest who called for wide-ranging social political reforms. He wanted to improve conditions for the majority of Mexicans, abolish slavery, and give the right to vote to all men. So for 4 years, Morelos is going to lead rebel forces against the Spanish, but he too would be captured and shot. 1815. Backed by conservative Creoles, Spanish forces are going to hunt down the surviving guerrillas. They almost ended the revolution all at once, except for events that were happening in Spain at the same time that changed the mood otherwise. As we know, that's Father Jose Morelos. I believe this is a street painting, what you call it, graffiti, tag, mural. Independencia de Mexico. In Spain, 1820, liberals forced the king to issue a constitution. This move alarmed a man named Agustin de Iturbide, who was a conservative Creole from Mexico. He feared that the new Spanish government might impose liberal reforms on the colonies, Mexico, as well. Iturbide had fought Mexican revolutionaries for years, but he slowly changed his mind and reached out to them. Backed by Creoles, mestizos, and natives, he will overthrow the Spanish viceroy in Mexico. Mexico was finally independent. Iturbide took the title of Augustine I. However, liberals would soon enough overthrow the would-be monarch to set up the República de Mexico, and that's Agustin de Iturbide. Central America follows suit. The Spanish-ruled lands of Central America soon declared independence in the early 1820s. Iturbide tried adding these lands to his empire. But after his overthrow, local leaders are going to set up a Republic of United Provinces of Central America, and then those republics are going to soon fragment into separate republics of Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, and Costa Rica. Enter Simón Bolívar. In the early 1800s, discontent is going to spread across South America. Educated Creoles like Simón Bolívar admired the French and American revolutions. He dreamed of winning independence from the Spanish. So in 1808, when Napoleon occupied Spain, Bolívar and his friends saw this occupation as a sign to act. In 1810, Bolívar led an uprising that established a republic in his native Venezuela. Bolívar's new republic was quickly toppled by conservative forces, however, and for years, a civil war will rage on. The revolutionaries had setbacks. Twice, Bolívar was forced into exile to the island of Haiti. That's Simón Bolívar. El Liberador. Test question. What is his nickname in Spanish? But then Bolívar devised a new plan. He would march his army across the Andes Mountains and attack the Spanish at Bogotá, the capital of the Viceroyalty of New Granada, modern-day Colombia. He first cemented a friendship with the hard-riding Llaneros, or Venezuelan cowboys. He is going to lead a guerrilla campaign through the swampy lowlands, through the snow-capped mountains of the Andes. In 1819, he swooped down to take Bogotá and surprise the Spanish. Other victories followed, and by 1821, Bolívar succeeded in freeing Caracas, Venezuela, his hometown. So El Liberador moved south into Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. There he joined forces with another great leader, José de San Martín. What a nice guy. Like Bolívar, San Martín was a Creole born in Argentina, but he was sent to Europe for military training. In 1816, he helped Argentina win freedom from Spain. Later, he joined the Independencia struggle in other areas. He too led an army over the Andes from Argentina to Chile. He defeated the Spanish in Chile before moving into Peru to strike further blows against the Spanish colonial rule. San Martín turned over his command to Bolívar to win the final victories against Spain. That's José de San Martín. The end of Bolívar, sadly. The wars for independence soon ended by 1824. Bolívar worked tirelessly to unite the lands he liberated into one single nation called Gran Colombia. But bitter rivalries would make his dream impossible. Much like Haiti, once they received their independence, these independent republics are going to fight for individual power, and then they're all going to decide to become independent themselves. So, as we learned in our South America quiz, this is a big area of South America in the northeast. Is that northwest? You have Gran Colombia split into 4 independent nations: Colombia, Panama, Venezuela, and Ecuador. More disappointment followed as power struggles among rival leaders triggered more civil wars, and Bolivar will die in 1830. Contrary to his dream, South America's common people have changed one set of masters for another. And I believe this is a test question, this whole slide. So, contrary to his dream, South American common people change one set of masters for another. All right, and it wouldn't be South America if we weren't talking about the biggest country in South America, in Brazil. And as you've heard me say, I've studied abroad in Brazil many years ago. So, and your book talks about a little bit, like a paragraph about Brazil and their fight for independence. So, ordem progresso, so order and progress. So while Napoleon's armies conquered Portugal, the Portuguese royal family fled to their colony in Brazil. When the king returned, he left his son Dom Pedro to rule Brazil. His father said, if Brazil demands independencia, proclaim it yourself and put the crown on your head. In 1822, Dom Pedro will follow his father's advice. A revolution will break out and put new leaders in Portugal and who plan to abolish these reforms and demanded Dom Pedro to return. And if you know anything about, hey man, we just want to talk to you, so like, can you come back? We kind of killed your family, but like, can you come back? We want to put you in power, but we just want you back. Dom Pedro, he not stupid, and he's gonna see this as conspiracy. So Dom Pedro is gonna refuse to leave, and he became the emperor of an independent Brazil. He will accept a constitution that allowed freedom of the press, religion, and an elected legislature in his country. And Brazil will remain a monarchy until the later half, much later, of the 19th century in 1889, when social and political turmoil turned it into a república. That's our boy Dom Pedro, and that's the Brazilian national flag. Ordem e progresso. And these stars represent the number of states Brazil has. Yes, Brazil has states. Anywho, that concludes our lecture. That concludes our unit. Hopefully you did enjoy. I had to bring out the accent today. Hopefully I didn't butcher it too badly for you. Too badly. So yeah, your homework is to do page 160, 3 through 5, and get ready for your test coming later this week. All right. So hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Smash that like button if you did. And as always, stay safe, wash your hands. Peace.